compare us? Yes, they. Hey y'all, welcome to the Perspectives Podcast with Des
and Shay.
Now, we know things look a little different around here, so before y'all bamboozle us with 1,000 questions, we just gonna give y'all the tea.
So in case you've been living under a rock, you know, Des and I started a podcast back in 2018 called Straight Brown No Chaser. But now we have decided to change our name to the Perspectives Podcast with Des and Shay because why? We felt like it.
We just felt like it, yes. So y'all already know the pandemic, snowdemic, whatever you want to call it. Snowpocalypse. 2020 was just tough for everybody. So,
and 2021 starting off.
I know, but 2020 was like that punch in the face that we didn't know we was gonna get. Like somebody slid us on the pool and we weren't ready. So we took a break, and when we decided to revisit the podcast, we knew that we wanted to revamp it and just redo everything, and the name was the first to go.
Absolutely. So SBNC, Straight Brown No Chaser, represents two different millennial women. So now y'all have to learn us all over again with the Perspectives Pod.
Yeah. So like SBNC was like pre-pandemic, and now Perspectives is post-pandemic. That's a tongue twister. Oh my God.
Pre-post.
Yeah. Pre-post, whatever you want to say. So as you guys already know, you've been looking at our social media, our hashtags and whatnot, and we've asked you guys plenty of questions because, as always, a podcast is like, you know, give and give. We need your opinion so that we know what to talk about. And basically, y'all are just gonna.
Or give and take.
What is it?
It's give and take.
What do
you
we
give.
Oh, and you take.
It's okay.
It's been a minute. Y'all knew what I meant. Shoot. So yeah, so we're just gonna be answering all your questions throughout the entire season, and we're gonna make sure to get through each and every one. Apparently, we can't talk.
Absolutely. So we're gonna start off with who are we? And I specifically, well, both of us, we specifically like this question. So we're gonna start off with this one first. So, do people ever compare us because we are best friends? Girl, that didn't think that is recorded.
I'm still good on this one.
I'm sorry. Okay, it's recorded.
All right, cool. Here we go. All right, so
I'm gonna start from who are we? Okay.
Yeah.
So who are we? And that was a great question. That is what I.
Do people ever compare us? Yes, they do. That was the best question that anyone submitted. I feel like it's a question that no one wants to ask. I don't know why.
So shout out to
who was it?
Her name. Shout out to Giselle because she definitely asked that question. I do not remember your Instagram handles right now.
We'll put it in here.
Shout out to you because that was a great question.
Yeah, but people never want to ask it. I guess they feel like it would create like a, what's the word? A little
strife, I guess.
Like
tension.
Yeah, like a little tension between us, but it doesn't. That's what comes from maturity, I would say. So, do people ever compare us? Yes, they do. And I think that's normal because Shay and I wouldn't say now more so, but in the past we used to spend a lot of time together and people were always used to seeing us with each other. So automatically when you see two people and they seem very similar, your first thought is, well, who does what? Who's better at this? Who does this? I can't tell you how many times people felt like I should be married because Shay is married. Like, that is the main thing. They're like, oh, well, Shay's married. When do you get married? And it's like, I don't know, fam.
Like, she's her own person.
Whenever I want to, you know? And it's just that I wouldn't say that we're just completely different because I do think that we're really similar. But our differences are very distinguishing and they definitely, you know, set us apart. And I think that sometimes people don't like that. They want you to be exactly the same or they want us to agree on things, but we disagree on a lot of things. But the best thing about our friendship, relationship, however you want to, you know, put whatever category you want to put it in, is that we're very mature about our relationship, friendship, and we understand that things are going to be different and that we can't agree. It's not going to be an argument or it's not going to be like, I can't mess with her. She feels like this.
No.
It's not like that with us, and I don't think it ever has been, to be honest. And that's why we work so well.
I think so too. I mean, just to piggyback off of what you said, we were together. But honestly, I think I feel like this was so long ago, but it's still kind of recent. Like college, a lot of people know us from college or even high school. I mean, we've matriculated through school together.
We're very old.
Yeah, I know, but college, you may have think that we were together a lot, but that was really just on campus.
Yeah.
Like when we went home, we had 2 separate lives.
Very
like,
much so.
Definitely. So I remember people used to always ask, like, are y'all always together when y'all are at home? And I'm like, no, like she has her family, I have my family, and we kind of like do our own things. So, I mean, I can't say that I can think of a distinct time where somebody has compared us, but I'm pretty sure like in the back of people's head, it's like, oh, I wonder if they are this much alike or that this and that. I don't know.
Like, I don't know how to put it, but it's you always know when you're being compared. Let me put it like that. People might not say it out loud, but it's just like the comments that they might make, or the way they, describe us, like, oh, those two, the twins, and this and that. And it's like, yeah, I mean, we used to look similar, but
I think we look kind of different.
Yeah, I think we look very different, and I just think we're different people. But that's no shade to people who do spend like crazy amounts of times with their friends and whatnot. That's just not our relationship. And the best thing about it is we like it that way, because we do have very separate lives, especially after this whole pandemic had occurred. I went months without seeing Shay, and I hated it.
Right.
Like, I absolutely hated it.
I was telling her to come to
like
drive-bys.
Yeah, like I did not like it. I felt like I needed my friend. You can go ahead and restart it if you want to.
No, it's fine.
Oh, okay.
That phone is retarded.
But yeah, we get compared very often, but the best thing about us being compared, I guess this has to go with our personality, is no one's gonna come to us and try to compare us out loud.
I guess not.
And it's for the best that you don't. But I'm just saying that because when you have friendships and they've been for years and years and years, you have to be ready for that, and you have to be secure in your friendship or your relationship, because some of the things that they compare, we might not want to hear.
Right.
And I know that's why people don't come to us about it, but I know it's being said, and that's fine. Who's taller? Who's prettier? Who's this? Who's that? Who's smarter? Why did she get a man first? Like, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Hey. Yes.
I mean, does it matter?
No, I don't think any of that stuff matters, but I think we just live in a time and a world where comparison is the norm. I think we compare people without even realizing it. I think we just knew it.
It's the thief of joy.
Yeah, you say that twice. Make it nice. I'm just telling you, like, that's fine. And we know that. But that's why I was saying, like, post-pandemic, or not pre-pandemic, like, we saw each other a little bit more. But now that I know for a fact my life has completely changed since the pandemic and since we did our last podcast, it's not the same anymore. Now we're like legit adults, and I don't know if we've ever felt like adults before.
It's kind of ghetto.
It's very ghetto here. 1 star.
Would not recommend.
Like, no way. But now that we feel like we're official adults, like Shay is 30, I'm about to be 30, like, we are fully aware that friendship is something that you choose. And you have to be okay with the fact that sometimes your friendship is not going to be 50-50. Sometimes it's going to be 30-70. Sometimes it's 10-90. It shouldn't always be that way, mind you, but sometimes it is. And I think we realize that more so than ever now, because I'll be on that 10%, boy. Woo, I really be on that 10%.
I don't think so. I would disagree.
Oh, yay.
But that kind of leads us into, since you touched on how we have definitely evolved, let's hit on pre and post us. Like, who were we before the pandemic?
Who was?
Do you want to start off?
I can. Before the pandemic. I don't know. Well, y'all may not know, but I mean, if you follow me on social media, you know, like, before, when we were first recording our podcast, I was the single friend. I was just dating around, living my best life. I had my own apartment, doing my own thing. It was a very luxurious life. It was very luxurious. I miss it sometimes. I do. And I was known for being that friend. I was known for being like on my own, do whatever I want. No one wants to go to brunch with me. Fine, I'll go by myself and sit at the bar. Like, that was my life. And I don't even feel like I have to elaborate on that, because I feel like that's a very personified, like, persona nowadays. Like, the luxurious Black woman who does her own thing, doesn't need anybody. That was me, okay? Then I got pregnant, okay? It was like a boom. And none of my other friends have kids, so it was just kind of like me by myself. Like, I really didn't have anybody, I don't want to say to talk to about it, but like, I don't know if anybody could relate to me even at that point in my time. And not only that, I was pregnant during a pandemic, which is a whole other level of depression that we're not even going to talk about today, but it's fine. It's cool. But yeah, before the pandemic, I was not that. And now, post-pandemic, I'm a mom. I'm about to be someone's whole wife, which is crazy because I cannot cook. So I don't know what he's doing here, but I've definitely evolved as a person, and I realized that there is more to life than just me. And no shade to anybody who's concerned about themselves. I think that's awesome. Sometimes I wish I could still do that, but now there's a little person depending on me. I have a son. He is my entire world, and I have a fiance who I love very much. And pre-pandemic, Destiny would have never said those things. Ever. Like, that is, I'm sure if she's looking at this videos, because before this time, those were not my goals or aspirations. I was just living life just for me, and everything was fine. And then somebody knocked me up on purpose. Don't get trapped, ladies. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not kidding about that. Don't get trapped. But still, everything happens for a reason. I love my son to no ends. I love my fiance to no ends. I still don't know why he's with me. I told y'all I just cannot cook, but I work on that all the time, and I work on being a mom all the time. So that's my life now. I still work on Destiny. I just realized that there's more to Destiny than just Destiny, and that's okay.
Yeah, so my life's pretty the same, I would say. I mean, I'm still married. Nothing life-changing has happened except for the pandemic. I mean, the pandemic just put things into perspective as far as yourself and relationship wise. I mean, before pandemic, I knew you have to work on a marriage, because it definitely is not. If you think of marriage is just the wedding day and cute pictures, don't get married, because that is definitely not what it is.
Amen.
It is way more than that. It's literally like you go to your job every day, and then you get off work, whether you have kids or not. You get off work and you still have another job, which is running a household. So I think the pandemic just put things into perspective as far as what I personally want to do with my life, because I just don't know. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be in this education field.
Bam. Say it twice. Make it nice. Woo.
Being off work during the pandemic made me realize, like, I was just so much happier. I feel like I was a happier wife. I was a happier person because I was, like, not tired. I wasn't consumed with data and having to do this and meet these deadlines. Like, it was, now I will say that at one point I felt like purposeless, because I was just like my career is almost like my life. Like, that defines who I am.
Very much so.
I had to realize, like, that cannot be the thing that defines me. Like, I am so much more than my career. So definitely the pandemic made me realize that I am more than a teacher. Like, I am a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a cousin, I'm a niece. And I just feel like I was so much happier without having to go to work and be dealing with the demands. If you're a teacher, you know, dealing with the demands of teaching is like no other. So yeah. After the pandemic, it really put things into perspective. I don't know where my life will lead me. I probably should have took some leaps and jumps, but I didn't, because, you know, you're comfortable. But hopefully it comes soon. We don't know.
We got to leap, sis.
But yeah, so I would say pre-pandemic, Shay was all about trying to dot her I's, cross her T's with my career, and not really putting all of it in other areas of my life, such as marriage, such as family, and all those things are very important to me. So during the pandemic, I was just like cooking, cleaning, like just doing wifely things. Now, do I want to do that all the time? No, I do not. So
it sounds so unappeasing to me.
But it was just like the joy of being like happy. So although the pandemic was still kind of stressful, that part of it was still like a happy moment for me, because I was able to be like, oh, okay, well, I got food ready when you come home, or hey, I went to the grocery store, and I, like, right now you go to my house, we ain't got no groceries, so that's because I go to work every day. So it's like balance, and I'm trying to, post-pandemic, Shay is trying to figure out that balance and keep it going, because I definitely had balance during the pandemic.
No, that's actually really good, because it takes us into our next little bullet point, because we make bullet points. So we want to talk about how adult friendships function, especially post-pandemic, because I feel like when we talk about friendships, like you guys already know Shay and I's dynamic, but I don't have that same dynamic with all my friends, and that's okay, which is also something we need to touch on. Like you can have different dynamics, different friends for different, I don't want to say situations.
It is.
Or different friends for different areas of your life.
It's like a doctor. You don't go to your heart doctor to find out what's wrong with your leg. So I mean, your friends do serve different purposes in your life, and it is especially important to figure out that purpose that your friend serves in your life as you become an adult, because we are ever changing. We are not the same people we were in college. We're definitely not the same people we were in high school.
Mm-mm.
Shoot, I'm not the same person I was yesterday. So, so I mean, like, yes, no, I think it is definitely safe to say you have different friends for different purposes, because, like I said, you're not going to go to the cardiologist if there's something wrong with your foot. They're going to be looking at you like, why are you here? And that's kind of like how your friends look at you when you call on them for certain situations, and that's not their purpose. Like, well, what do you want me to do? Because that's not their purpose.
Yeah, I would say, well, I feel like for me, I would say, like, I think Shay's like an all-around friend for me, so I don't really categorize her, if that makes sense. But that's just because our dynamics are different. But for others, I know the dynamics are not the same or what I would expect. And that can be very tough in the era that we live in right now, because I think if you don't live in Texas, you will soon find out. Texas, there is no pandemic.
It's not.
We live our lives here.
Oh, and been living our lives since.
And we have been living our life here.
Since July 2020.
And I don't completely agree with it. It is what it is at this point. But when we were, in quarantine or, under restrictions, like, I know that was very disheartening and hard for people who are dependent on their friends. I'm dependent on my friends, but I still have my fiance by my side, and I still have my family. But some people did not have that. And that's why nowadays, now that we're all like getting back outside and things of that nature, I think that I don't want to say the rules or guidelines, but like it's changed. Like, adult friendships have definitely changed. I think that everyone went through a tough time during the pandemic, and I think that now more so than ever, friends have to be a lot more understanding, because before we already had like boyfriends, husbands, kids, sisters, other obligations, and that's fine. But now our mental health is taking like a real
especially
turn.
with being alone. Like, although you had your family, like, at certain aspects, you still feel alone, because that was those during the pandemic, like when we're under restrictions and in quarantine, you just had the people that lived in your house for the people who were following the restrictions. So you just
for the people that followed it.
So you just had the people who lived in your house, and although those were, because I'm not gonna lie, like, my sanity got tested too, because I'm like, okay, I want to see somebody else other than these people I live with.
My sanity's always tested.
And so it's still hard, but it's still like, I don't know. Yeah, the pandemic put these into perspective.
I think the key word is boundaries. Like, I think now, and I think for our parents, we cannot necessarily go to our parents, because our parents lived in a different time.
They don't
See,
have
us
boundaries.
millennials, those early 90 babies, like, we are living through so many crazy times that we really can't relate to anybody else. So I can't go to my parents and be like, well, how did you balance your friends and having a man and having kids? My parents can't tell me that, because they focus their lives on their kids. Yeah, they didn't balance it. But I
it
feel
was
like
one or the other.
I want us to balance it. And there is no balance. I'm gonna just be honest with y'all. I struggle with that balance all the time, because your friends might be used to having a certain access to you, and once your life has maybe evolved, taken a turn, or whether you just don't want to, you might restrict some of that access. And not every friend is gonna be okay with that. And I think that's the main thing I can say about adult friendships in today's time, is that there needs to be boundaries, for sure.
Healthy boundaries.
Yeah,
definitely.
but I mean, you can still be, like I say all the time, you can still be friends with someone. We do it all the time. I can go, not speaking to Shay, we don't really do this, but I can go months without speaking to Shay, and I know that when we pick up, it's gonna be fine. It's not gonna be, well, I haven't heard from her in months, so like, we're good, I'm off that. Like, it's not like that, because I realize that Shay has a life outside of me. And I think that I just think that the pandemic really showed me that more than anything, because as I was going through my thing, I was like, dang, there's other people going through stuff too. Like, y'all don't have time for me. But I had to realize that, and that's okay. But also, I'm sure she said the same thing. I'm sure there were times that she wanted to talk, but she knew, like, I had a lot going on during the pandemic. Post-pandemic, my life is just...
I've seen it best. I seen it best on a meme on Instagram. It was like a bar. It was like, this is a person's life, the bar, okay? And even though you might think you're close to that person, they're your friend, your best friend, whatever, this is how much you know about what they're going through and their trials, their tribulations, or anything. And this is all the other things that you think you know. Like, you just have to realize that people go through things, and you know, it's just everybody's going through something.
Yeah.
Everybody's going through something,
and I think that's
so you can't take it personal.
Yeah, it's a transition that we all have to go through, and now that we're like going into our 30s, it's just more relevant than ever. And that's why I said this is something that we just got to figure out on our own. Like, I cannot go to my parents. I might be able to go to like an older sibling or something, but even so, like, they're just gonna tell you, like, they were new to this too. You know what I mean?
When I think about the older people in my family, it was one or the other. Like, I mean, they had friends. My mom had friends. My mom was not married, but she had friends and she did her own thing. But I don't think she had to. I don't know. Maybe she did, but I don't think that she had to balance like work, family, kids, friends, this, that. But also, like, I think that our parents, they didn't really, it really wasn't like they hung with their friends type of thing.
Right.
It was like,
we come from a very social era.
Yes, I was just about to say, you get together with your family, and that was it. Like, because we used to go to my aunt's house every weekend. So,
or they would just talk on the phone with their friends. I think that was their thing back then.
Yes. And now it's like, girl, you want to go to brunch? Girl, you want to do this? Let's go to happy hour. Let's do, like, we are social. Like, we love to be outside. That's why the pandemic was killing us.
And
like,
if the picture didn't happen, then the social outing did not happen.
Right. But that's not how they grew up.
Yeah.
We grew up in a social environment where we like to spend money. They like to get because when I think about it, when my mom and my aunts and stuff like that, when they got together, so yes, of course, like, it was us there, but their friends would come over, but it was like more house type thing, like house gatherings. The kids would be in the back. And then you have to also think about this. Like, I think this is why they did not have that dynamic. We're waiting later to have kids. Like,
yes.
By the time my mom was my age, she had both her children. Like, so she had to accommodate friends. Like, she had to do that, and they did it in a way I think that was beneficial for them. Like, the kids would be in the back. They would be in the front having a little good time. Us, on the other hand, we're waiting later, so we just like, great, let's go. Like,
exactly.
Or, I mean, you also, like, I like what you said earlier. I mean, and I did this, and I do this now, and I'm married. Like, I will go to the bar by myself. I will go to brunch by myself. I will do all of that by myself. It has nothing to do with,
I don't want nobody here. Or
it's just I want to go, so I'm gonna go, and I don't know. And then me, I'm one of those people. Sometimes I'm a people person. Sometimes I'm not. Like, my social battery be like this. So sometimes I just like to go sit at the bar and just be in my own thoughts. I don't have to entertain anybody. I don't like small talk, and I think that's why me and you, like, literally, like, we can get together. We get together,
we get to it. Be like, girl, let me tell you.
Yes, like,
so and so sucks. I don't like this. Like, there's no time for how is the weather? How's your job going? I can tell you how it sucks.
I don't like small talk.
Yeah.
And I realized that, like, I think that's why I have the same group of friends that I've been having for so long, because I don't like small talk. I hate small talk. I do not want to know your favorite color. I don't want to know.
Or it's like, I already know your favorite color.
Yeah, so like, I don't care. I need some depth.
Yes. I want to get deep with you. What is the meaning of life? Can you tell me at brunch right now? Like, but that's the kind of stuff I like too. And that's why I said, like, our dynamics are just different nowadays. So I think adult friendships are very important. And I think, like we always say, you make time for the things that you want. So we're always going to make time for each other. It just might not look with someone else, or it might not look like someone else's making time. Okay, like I said, me and Shay might not go months without seeing each other.
We're not doing that.
But when we make, we don't really do that. But let's just say if we did, we're gonna be like, all right, listen, girl, I ain't seen you in a minute. I miss you. Like dating time, and I'll be there. Okay. Yes. And then sometimes on the cool, like I'll be having to cancel.
Yeah, because, and I'll be okay with that.
Like, girl, I cannot come. I'm sorry. So and so happened. And she'll be like, all right, cool. I just wouldn't be able to deal with that adult friend that's like, well, she had to cancel on me and I just don't feel like she's giving me enough time. It's like, I'm trying. But as an adult who has a kid now and even a fiance, like, I have to pour into other things. And
adulting is hard.
I don't want to pour too much into one category because some categories need a little bit more than others. And I hate to say this, but like when you have a spouse or someone that you're building a life with, sometimes they need you to pour in a little bit more than you would normally pour into someone else. And we'll get into that on another podcast, but I can say that with confidence. Like some of the things that I have to pour into Shay, I have to take that and double it and pour it into my fiance. And there's a reason for that because Shay and I have already built our relationship in our life. I'm building something else with someone else,
and it's ever changing.
And it's ever changing, and that's something that I constantly have to help out with. I don't really have to do too much with Shay.
No, you really don't.
Like, or my other friends, for that matter.
I'm really easy to please.
Yeah, and if they need to, like, then go ahead. But I don't really have to do that because, like I said, we're solidified. And if there ever was a time, I'm sure she would just come to me and be like, hey, like, we ain't been vibing on this. Or we ain't been doing this. I'll be like, all right, bet. Like, what can we do? Because I'm one of those people, I will communicate to the death of me. Okay? I have no problem communicating. It's the action that I have to work on. And I can say that honestly because it's tough. But adult friendships are very needed at this time, and I know that we took a whole bunch of rabbit trails, but the main thing is we're talking about friendship. So that's what we're mainly going to be talking about for the next few podcast sessions, I would say, because people ask us about friendship all the time and how our dynamic works, and we cannot explain it. We just work.
Yeah, we kind of do.
Yeah, we just work. I don't know how to put that to other people, but I would just say, like,
I think I said this on another, like a long time ago when we were recording in the past, like, you can't be easily offended. You have to be unoffendable. Like, yes, you have your feelings, and yes, you should feel your feels. Definitely, I agree. I personally do not think people are out to offend you.
Yeah, they don't have malintent. I think that's just how it comes off sometimes. I come off to people like, sometimes I come off rude, and there's no malintent behind it. So I'm just very blunt when it comes to my space and my boundaries nowadays, and people that may have had access prior to that or might not understand that, like, that might be hurt. They're like, well, I don't get it. And I'm one of those people, I don't like to explain myself. I'm working on it, but I just truly don't. But it's different for everybody, I would say. But we need adult friendships in this day and age.
Definitely.
I realize that's what our parents were lacking.
No, for real. For real.
Like they were, because our parents centered their whole lives, not that you shouldn't, our parents centered their whole lives around us, I realized. And that's not a bad thing, but I just realized, and I hate this from our parents, it barely left room for them. And, you know, I don't want that for me. I don't want that for any of my friends or anybody around me. And I realized it's not going to be like that for us because we just have a bigger picture, I would say.
I agree.
Yeah, but I do hate that for them. That's why I try to make sure my parents can, like, live their life a little bit. I still be like, babysit for me, please, though. But, I mean, that's why grandparents are so willing to babysit our kids. Like, because children and taking care of someone is all that they know. Yeah, and that's why they don't have an issue doing that. I can see myself being the grandmother that's like, keep your kids, because I'm trying to go out this weekend. I don't want to keep your kids. So, I don't know. Dynamics are just different. But adult friendship, definitely needed. You got to give each other grace, too.
Oh, yes.
Like, that's a big thing.
Grace is definitely important.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, everybody's not out to offend you.
No. Okay. Well, let's just wrap it up.
Okay. So, I'm
going to press record on mine. I don't care.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm going to keep on going. So, as you guys know, you have to, I mean, if you're already following us, great. If you're not, then make sure you go ahead and find us on Instagram at the.perspectives.pod on Instagram, on Facebook, and then you can also find this on YouTube. It will be in the description notes later on. And then also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts as well.
Yay! So that's all we have. One of our cameras is down anyway. Totally fine. That's what happens when you transition.
Yeah.
And when you're growing. There are going to be mistakes made, and we're good with that.
And guess what? We just did it.
Mistake.
Because they say just do it. And we did.
Until next time. Bye.
Look at that one. Because that was not working.